Hey everybody, Necroxus here, and I'm going to make a little bit of a video that I think has been coming for a while, and I'm off script right now, so if I'm rambling, forgive me. I don't plan on making this long, but I have said that many times, and it ended up going pretty long, so I don't know how long this is going to be. But, I have been coming to this decision relatively slowly, as Warlords of Draenor has been coming out, as I've been playing the beta. You've probably heard me talk about my issues with the expansion a million different places if you pay even the smallest amount of attention to my channel or what I'm doing, so I'm going to try and not repeat everything once again, but basically I have decided to unsubscribe from World of Warcraft, and it's been a slow burn to this point, but basically I kind of knew, I actually had already done it about a week ago, but I kind of did it out of anger one day, and then I was kind of contemplating, I'm probably just going to come back. But I think this is more me saying I'm definitely not for the immediate future coming back. And like I said, it was a slow burn, but two specific events happened, both yesterday actually, which made me really just confirm what I felt about the game and how I think it is right now. Yesterday, Chromatic Contingency, which is the guild that Howie, Dunrioris, and myself made when we left the Smoking Gamers Guild, we ran Highmall yesterday for the first time. Most of the characters, most of the people in the raid were guild members. We did have 2 tanks and a healer, I believe, were the only non-guildies. Everyone else was from the guild. So it was successful in that regard. I'm happy. And we barely raided. We didn't even raid 2 hours because, it was supposed to be on Tuesday, and then maintenance went like all day long on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. So Thursday, a lot of people actually couldn't stay late. We didn't even raid 2 hours, but we killed Kargath. We got the Butcher down to like 68 or 67% or something, only on 2 attempts. So, that's not bad for a lot of people who didn't really raid a lot last expansion. That's actually pretty decent. Of course, we were on flex or normal, whatever you want to call it. But the first reason was a more personal, or you could even say a selfish reason, and that's totally fine if you want to call it a selfish reason. My Warlock is item level 635, and in the raid, we also had a mage. I forgot to mention a mage pug because he's about to be brought up. We were doing Highmall, and a huge problem I have this expansion is how they've changed Warlocks, and I felt like they've made them far worse than they were before. If you guys have been with me for a considerable length of time, you've known I've voiced my opinion that I don't think the changes in Mists of Pandaria were good for Warlocks. I still feel that way. But you know what? I could deal with it. We were slightly overpowered. We weren't immeasurably overpowered in Mists of Pandaria, but Warlocks were slightly overpowered. Warlocks have bounced back and forth between slightly overpowered and slightly underpowered, as Blizzard has decided to nerf. And because they apparently don't know how to do things subtly, they just nerf things either drastically or buff them drastically. And this is my biggest problem now. When Mists of Pandaria remade Warlocks, a lot of things were simplified. And I didn't really think the simplification was the problem. I just didn't like the playstyle. So I was okay with them removing stuff here and there, but in Warlords of Draenor they even went further, and I just still don't understand why. They gave their reasons, I just don't agree with them. But they removed even more stuff from Warlocks. They removed some utility things like, Twilight Ward, which was very useful on a number of different fights. It was useful in PvE, it was useful in PvP, it was useful all over the place, questing, dungeons, and it was basically, if you never played a Warlock before it was removed, it was a shield that Warlocks could use. It was kind of a defensive cooldown. It wasn't that long. It was like 30 seconds, and it absorbed like a decent amount of shadow and holy energy. And that was actually a change from an older ability Warlocks had when they had a talent. When they removed the talent, they made Twilight Ward, but it was a talent that let them absorb all schools of magic for a smaller amount. It was smaller than Twilight Ward's was, so They reduced the amount of schools you could absorb with Twilight Ward, but made it absorb more, if that makes sense. So anyway, they removed that. They removed things like Fell Flame, which was an integral part of movement fights for Warlocks, especially Destruction, because Destruction has virtually no mobility spells, especially with the removal of Kill Jaden's Cunning, from always being able to cast on the move to just once every 2 minutes, or for like 8 seconds every minute. So they removed that. I just don't like how they made Warlocks now, but I was still dealing with it in Warlords. We were still decently okay. We were still slightly overpowered. But then Blizzard changed us, and they nerfed the shit out of Rain of Fire, which was our basically only AoE ability. Sure, Destruction Warlocks have Fire and Brimstone, which is you can use your Incinerate and your Conflagrate on multiple targets, but that uses Burning Embers, which is our resource. I'm sure most of you people don't even play Warlock, so you won't understand. But they severely, severely gimped Destruction Warlock AoE to the point that I wouldn't even say Destruction Warlocks have AoE anymore. More importantly, they got rid of Rain of Fire, our AoE spell's ability to generate the resource that we need to cast Chaos Bolt, which is the biggest DPS spell in our arsenal. So Warlocks, they still sim decently, but I just feel like I am totally weak. To bring it back to the raid and why I brought that up, I am item level 635 or 636, but we had a mage in the group who was the same item level, and I know because I looked it up. We had a death knight in the group who is the same item level as me. We had a hunter in the group who I also went and looked up, and same item level as me, and they all out DPS me by thousands. 2, 3, 4, 5,000 DPS. And it's not because I don't know how to play Destruction, because now Destruction is so easy. It's like 4 different abilities that you use at different times. It's not hard to figure it out. So it's the nerf. They nerfed us. Sure, they buffed our other spells very slightly, but the drastic nerf to our AoE and our resource regen just destroyed the class for me. And people might say, well, why don't you go play another spec? I like Destruction's playstyle, and I don't think I should be faulted for saying I'm upset that the spec that I most like to play is bad now. So that was the first thing. That really bummed me out. We beat Kargath, and I was happy for that, but then I saw the DPS on our kill, and I was second to last with a bunch of people who had either the exact same item level or one above or below me. That was severely disheartening. The second thing that happened yesterday was there was an AMA and Ask Me Anything that Reddit does, the website, where a bunch of Blizzard devs were on there talking about stuff. And they basically said that they weren't going to be introducing flying in 6.1. They said that they were keeping the model that they were using in 6.0, and therefore flying isn't going to be introduced. And you all have heard my thoughts about flying. I have another whole video about flying. In short, I don't buy any of their arguments. I don't think it increases immersion. People will still just ride right by the enemies that they don't want to fight, just like everybody does now, since we're all stuck on ground mounts. It has no effect on world PvP whatsoever, besides gankers not being able to gank as well. Like, that's the only negative effect. And that was already something they didn't like. So the idea that world PvP, which doesn't really even exist anymore, would be affected by that is just such a cop-out. The idea that the world was designed with ground mounts in mind is fine, but so was most of the other continents. BC, Wrath, the new zones in I can't say Cataclysm. Cut Cataclysm out of that because you had flying right away. But Mists of Pandaria, the vast majority of those zones had very little or no flying parts to them. So the logic that they designed this from the ground up for flying doesn't really hold a lot of weight. It's just one of those things where I just vehemently disagree with it. I just don't understand their reasoning. I know what they say. I just don't agree at all. I think they're bullshitting us, to be honest. I think they're lying. I think the reason that they don't have flying is because there's not a lot. They cut out a lot of stuff. So they really don't want flying so people can't see that stuff. And that's just it. I heard that and I was thinking about my performance in Heimdall and how I was performing the best that I could with the rotation that I know is what it is, and all of the gear and all of the spec and all of the stats and all of the glyphs that I'm supposed to have, and just doing terribly. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I just can't deal with it. I just can't keep playing something that I don't have fun with anymore. and it's very disappointing. And I let them know that in my when I unsubscribed. I told them, look, I was a subscriber for 9 years. I played in vanilla. I never let my subscription lapse once. And you guys have just destroyed the game that I really like. And I just can't support it anymore. So I unsubscribed. But, so yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about what that means for this channel. My subscription doesn't run out until December 26th. So until then, for you guys, I will be showing off some of the lore stuff that I can do in that time. Some of the Garrison campaign stuff that unlocks every week. I haven't put up one this week yet. That probably won't be up until about Sunday. I have a bunch of other videos coming out already. As you could probably tell, I had the new Game of Thrones game came out, which was just so good. So that came out yesterday. There's an episode today, and then tomorrow is the finale. So Sunday will be when the Garrison campaign video comes out. And basically, I will still try and make some more videos. This was a channel that was founded on Warcraft lore. But with me unsubscribing from Warcraft, I probably will begin doing a lot of more, Let's Play stuff or other games. Still focusing a lot on the story. That's still thing I'm very passionate about, regardless of what game it is. Right now I'm playing through Dragon Age Inquisition. Now that I know I'm going to be done with Warcraft, I can start playing more of Inquisition. Because I barely even scratched it, and it was really fun from what I did. But because of just the incessantly stupid and ridiculous time gating on Warcraft, I felt the need to just log in every single day to play. And that's how it used to be, and I didn't like that, and I liked that they got rid of it. And I feel like they reintroduced it because this expansion has so little to actually do that they have to just gate everything so that they have some semblance of faking it and making people think that there's actually a lot to do when there really isn't. Like, there really, really isn't when you think about it. You can say, like, you can go out into the world and kill rares. You can do that one time on your character, and then you can't get the loot from it anymore. There's no purpose in doing it. You could find all the treasures. Once again, you can do that once. And I've already done the vast majority of that and all of the rares. You can't do that anymore after you do it one time. There's a lot of one-time things that you can do. And when you're done with that, there's not much left. Like, honestly, these days now, I've done most of the stuff already. And I haven't even been playing a lot each day, compared to someone like Howie, who played a hell of a lot more than I did within the first week. Even compared to him, there's still not a lot for me to do anymore. I log on and I do the Apexis daily. That's about it. But, anyway, so yeah, there'll be some more gameplay on the channel. And, I know when you subscribe to me, if you're one of my few subscribers, I have about almost 1,500. I don't fault you if you decide you don't want to watch this channel anymore because of that. I would feel a little bad, but I understand it. My channel has always been inferior, I feel like, to other people who do lore of Warcraft on YouTube. But I really appreciate anyone who has subscribed and followed me for however long you have. But if you decide, since I'm not doing Warcraft nearly as much anymore, or will be, to unsubscribe, I won't hold it against you. I'll feel a little bad because I'm losing you, but, I know you have a limited amount of time and you can only choose to watch a certain amount of videos and people every day, so I don't feel too bad that you're leaving me. There's a little twinge, but, I understand. I think that's all I wanted to cover. I guess one more thing, will I ever come back to Warcraft? Probably. I probably will subscribe again in 6.1 just to try it out for like a month. I guess depending on what it is. If it's not like really a story patch at all, I probably won't. But since it seems like they're going to be going 6.0, 6.2, and 6.4 are the raids like they were in Mists of Pandaria, 6.1 kind of has to be a story patch. So I'll see what that is. Maybe I'll resubscribe. I probably will just to check it out. But, yeah, it's a very sad day for me, I really feel like, because Warcraft has been a huge part of my life for almost a decade, and it's just like, I don't know, since they changed, a lot of people from WoW left, Ghostcrawler left, they switched game directors, I feel like they really went backwards, and I feel like people who, I'm sorry if you feel this way, but I really feel like people who, really love how the game is now, you were tricked. You were duped. You were tricked by this false sense of nostalgia that they pushed so hardcore that it was going to be like Burning Crusade days and vanilla days. But when all they really did was take the worst parts of those games and put them back into the game. All of the time gating stuff, the no flying, the making it take forever to do anything, time gating. The grinding, the incessant grinding, and just before anyone decides to say, Nick Roxas, there's grinding and time gating in every game. Of course there are. It's an MMO. But it's been far worse, this expansion, than it has Mists of Pandaria, than it has Cataclysm, than it even has Wrath of the Lich King. Even in some ways worse than Burning Crusade. Not worse than Vanilla, because that was by far and away the worst that the game's ever been in terms of grinding. But I would say this is the last 3 expansions before this were nowhere near as bad, with time sinks, with grinding, with just making you wait to do anything. And I think you've been duped. I think you are experiencing a false sense of nostalgia. And you know why I think that's true? Because a lot of people who argue with me, not even just me, but just in general, about why those of us who are saying, this expansion's not turning out well. There's all these problems that we see on the beta. And we were all told, like, we're just being haters and, the game, you're just like a wrath baby or whatever. But, I've been playing since Vanilla, so that insult just went right off my back. But I've seen a lot of those people now start to be like, look, there really isn't much to do. It really is, everything is gated. It really is just making us take more time to get to the game because there's not a lot of stuff to do in it. I've been seeing a lot of those people who were adamantly arguing with me and other people begin to admit this and begin to say, Blizzard, what is going on? And so I'm sorry if you still think the game's great. That's good. I'm glad you're having fun. But I would not be surprised if in like a month you're sick of the game. Because one raid can't save nothing to do in Draenor. So there we go. That's about it. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to be doing other gameplay, like I said. I'll be doing episode reviews of shows I like to watch. The new episode of Korra came out today. I haven't seen it yet, but there will be a review on that at some point this week. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for continuing to watch. If you're leaving, I'm sorry to see you go, but thank you for watching, as long as you have. And, whatever comes next, I will take it in stride. So, thanks, guys, and I'll see you later. Farewell.